Good morning and welcome to Ed's World, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I am your host, Jay Edgar. You're listening to the wonderful sounds, beats provided by one Mr. Stephen Ignoramus, and I am joined today by a friend of the show, somebody who you've probably seen in the chats here, throwing insults at me and other people in the chat, but someone who is generally a friend of the show. Welcome, Top Pete Coco. How we doing?
How's it going? Pretty good. My tea just arrived.
Your tea?
It's like magic.
I know we were talking.
This is for me. This is a proper brew.
I know we were talking a bit about that off mic before we went live on the show, and our loves for tea, and I like Earl Grey. What was it that you said you liked?
Darjeeling is actually like my fave.
I've never heard of that before this, but
this is a Yorkshire Gold, which a limey buddy of mine suggested. He's always just chugging tea. Like, I drink iced tea all the time, but he's like on the hot tea because it's England, I guess. And it's super good. I was like, I knew that they had better tea than we have. I got it off of Amazon, but like you'll never see it in the store.
Well, we have got a full show here today and a lot of stuff to get to and talk about as we go along. I've got a couple videos for us to talk about here. But before we get started, I do want to talk a bit about what I've been seeing on Twitter lately, and that is the fact that blocks are on the rise. Now, I collect blocks from users who don't want to discuss and would rather just sit around and throw an insult and then hit the block button so you never really see it. But, I mean, I've been blocked 6 times in the last 3 days by people that I've engaged with just to have the discussion and be open and honest about it, and they just don't want to hear it, I guess. So,
is that the bear community flooding in? It's the bear effect.
I don't know.
And I got a tomahawk in my hand.
Nice. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, if you want to fix the country, we need to have the discussion. But it seems like so many people out there don't want to have the discussion. They just want to retreat out into their echo chambers. And I know we're not going to get anywhere if we do anything like that. So I know you said off mic that you skipped the Twitter phase.
Yes.
Which makes me a little bit sad because I bet you would be a hilarious follow on Twitter.
I stuck more to the YouTube comment trolls, and like, there's some serious comedians in the comments on YouTube.
Oh, I've seen you in the YouTube comments trolls.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I think you'd be a hilarious Twitter follow.
All right.
But yeah,
I got my chops on YouTube.
But yeah, that's what I have been seeing here. We do have a full show to go through today. We will be talking about the impeachment and the fact that it is now going over to the Senate. I believe that hearings are going to be starting today, so we'll talk a bit about this and the testimony that the left thinks is going to put the Donald and everybody that he knows and has ever known for the rest of his life in prison for all of eternity. 2020 is coming up, and we had a debate that was completely uneventful, but we'll talk a bit about that, including seeing some video of the Bernie and Warren feud that ended all of this. Virginia happened today, and we left it open on the itinerary because it was all supposed to happen yet today, but I've been seeing some impressions.
If someone had
news.
A war and everyone showed up, would it still be a war?
Well, we'll talk a bit about what we saw off the news for today from this. Ilhan Omar is officially under a federal investigation and has a special agent named in the investigation. So we'll talk a bit about the charges going there and what's going on with that. And because it was so heavy this week and there's been so much negative, we are going to end the show with a little bit of celebrity stupidity, including Vince Vaughn, Cardi B, and Gwyneth Paltrow. The last one is a little bit old, but it's still hilarious, so we're going to talk about that. It is going to be all of...
It smells a little low tide, the last one.
It is going to be all of this and more over on Ed's World. Thanks for checking us out over live on YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, and Periscope for Twitter. And if you can't catch us live or you're just checking us out in the beginning here, make sure that you can also check us out on demand on YouTube and BitChute. Or if you prefer, we're on audio as well. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And if you listen to this over on iTunes, leave us that 5-star rating and a good review. That helps us move up the charts and helps us compete with Apple's algorithm for demoting political podcasts that don't fit the narrative. Edgeworld is proudly partnered with the Freedom Scoop Media Group. Make sure you go over there and check us out. We've got a new show that's going to be coming up. Details to come, of course. So check out over there for details. Check out for great writers, great writing from people like Wyatt Birkenhoff, myself, Robert from the Generational Gap. You can also check out the Generational Gap over there and all of the content that comes from Stephen Ignoramus' channel, because he is a machine and he streams like a machine.
Legends.
And after the lengthy introduction here, it's time to find out more about our guest. So, Top Feed Coco, I don't know what to call you other than that, but tell us a bit more about yourself.
Long walks on the beach, romantic dinners, things like that. Um, I don't know. You can't really just sum it up. It'll come organically or not. But I like to have a good time. That's pretty much it. I finally decided that after 40 years of life, you choose whether or not you get to have a good time, and I'm having a good time.
Well, you've been on a few podcasts here. I know you've been on Stephen Ignoramus's show. You do your Discord server, but you're best known for being in the live chats and the comment feeds. But tell us a little bit how you decided to get into that.
Just the internet, man. It's one platform crashes, and actually Lift the Veil is who came over like when PewDiePie came over, sick of YouTube and all their bullshit, nefarious deeds. And a bunch of heads came over, and it's been good it's been way better than YouTube and like the interaction. And by the way, this is where I'm going to throw my platform for, hey D-Live, you're fucking up. Am I allowed to say fuck, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
fucking say fuck.
Fuck. It's like you're fucking up with not having a D-Live time zone. They need their own time zone, and it should have nothing to do with what time it is where you are. It should be off by like 27 minutes and 17 seconds off of like Greenwich Mean Time 2 hours ago. Just to make it confusing. But I think they should have their own time zone so that no one's like, wait, what time's the thing? Oh, it's like 4 a.m. here. What? Where are you? And it's become this ubiquitous drain.
I know I've
But
got
D-Live's great.
Yeah, I've got somebody that I'm hoping to get on this channel, not this coming week, but the week after here. And I know she was confused as to what the time zones were because she's over in Pacific time with you, but she thought that 6:30
Very
here.
confusing for us over
Yeah.
here in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, she thought that 6:30 here meant 8:30 over by you guys. I'm like, no, that's 4:30.
Yeah, well. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Women in math.
Oh, and demonetized.
Oh no.
Well, they'd have to monetize me first, and I told them to
Well,
take.
I took back what I was going to donate, so you've been demonetized. Here, I'll give you a lemon. Let's get this pot started with I raised a lemon. I'm out of Lena, or else I'd give you something better.
Yeah.
Get that thing going.
Actually, I'm going to put some cash under there, I think, this week, because I have a little bit extra cash this week, so we can actually open the chest for
That's
people.
all you have to do is go whore around on D-Live and like dump some lemons here, and that way, any of the channels that blocked you though, you're like, good riddance. It's like the Bible, like dust your feet. You know what the JWs do? They like dust their feet and get back in their car and drive off. It's kind of like that. You're like, good riddance. That's why I don't mind being banned. Like, oh no, I got banned off of Owen. It's like, what could you say anyway every 120 seconds that wasn't controversial whatsoever? I've noticed that, like you were bringing it up, but the purity test and like the agreement thing, it has gotten like bizarre with like, what? You disagree with me on this one thing, you're out.
Oh yeah, the Libertarian Party,
help each other in life.
The big L's are exactly like that too. I mean, you have to pass a purity test to be a libertarian, otherwise they call you a status bootlicker.
Yeah,
Constantly.
I know where that sort of comes from. That's more of the anarcho bin, but that's because people always, not always, I guess. I don't think I did, but they want to take it to that, like the black flag versus black and gold. It's like, why black flag though, dude? Like, do you really want to just bring your own house down, dude?
Black flag?
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with that. It's not the rainbow flag underneath the Trump flag with the same thing on it. Don't tread on me, fellas.
Well,
Did you see that picture?
I have not.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to check in with the live chat here to see what we've got going on before we move into our next topic.
Should I go over to YouTube where I can read it easier?
It all goes to the same place, so. All you're gonna see on D Live is the restream bot saying it, but yeah, it's all
I'll,
in the same chat
I'll be
because
restrained.
John is here from Generational Gap saying, "Yo, Ron Helton is here. Welcome on in. You are here as well, of course. Duke Roll is coming in to say hi uh, and mention his
Ron.
favorite YouTube channel. Ron Helton. I'm on Twitter so infrequently now that there's a good chance my account will be deemed inactive. Yeah, I actually have another account that was inactive or unactivated, I should say, because I haven't gone on it in 3 years. Duke Rolls says J. Edgar is everywhere, and yes, it is going to be the candle thing we're going to be talking about. Isn't it a little late to ask after you've said fuck?
Fuck no.
No. Does anybody ever have any extra cash? Well, I'm going to throw some in for you guys, so maybe you will have a little bit extra lino. And Duke Rolls says hi
Fuck
at
you.
Top Feed Coco. So let's talk about.
It's crazy being able to do it with just your voice and not type it. It's much. It's like voice text.
All right, let's talk about this stupidity with the impeachment here. So the first thing that I want to talk about, I get the picture queued up here, is that Nancy Pelosi has decided that it's time to move the articles of impeachment over to the Senate where they can actually do something about it. But now, to do this, of course, she signed the articles of impeachment with a different pen for every letter, and the pens look like this. Now, the first criticism that came out of it was the fact that the pens were shaped like bullets, and she was doing this, which I can see
I
that,
know.
but
Yeah, it's ceremonial. It's some more of their black magic voodoo stuff. Whatever. Like the ink is probably made with like adrenochrome or something.
well, I mean, this is supposed to be a completely sad and somber moment, or at least that's what Pelosi was trying to tell us from the beginning. That I mean, this we're supposed to be so serious with this. We're never supposed to be
It's
able to.
totally serious.
Yeah.
What are you? Why are you smiling? Private, why are you smiling? This is super serious.
So the articles were signed, and then of course she was giving out the pens as souvenirs to I think it was people in the room, but I also believe that people out in the general country could take the chance and order some of these to have as a souvenir to say that Donald Trump was impeached, and history can never say that he wasn't impeached again. I
Hurrah for hurrah for our history, boys! Like I, I think this will get right to it, which is I think it was better before we actually knew what was going on with this, and it's just like, look, you guys are psycho, and you're gonna do your thing. Just don't embarrass us, please. Could you just not embarrass us and just do whatever nefarious nonsense you're gonna do? Make us some money, we'll send a few of our kids to battle, but like this is embarrassing, and none of you deserve to be in charge of anyone. And leave the Trump alone.
well, I mean, they're not supposed to be in charge of us anyway. They're representing us. They're supposed to be working for us. We're
Oh,
supposed to be in charge of
oh,
them.
representing us. Okay. I'm
How,
always glad to be represented. Yeah.
how we got this turned around just is beyond me entirely. How it came to be that these people are supposed to be the people in charge of us when it was never supposed
Bolshevism.
to be that way.
One word, Bolshevism. Banks, international bankers. Oh, we're getting demonetized and shut down. Oh no, I've said it. Rout them out like the vipers they are.
I've been waiting for that day to come. No matter, I'm surprised I'm still on after some of the things I've said on here.
I know how many like first-time politician presidents will they have to murder before we can actually get someone like to be able to switch anything?
I don't know. I mean, Trump is doing, for the most part, fairly good. I mean, he's done some bad stuff too. I mean, the bump stock ban, the debt's still ticking
Mm,
up. I give him a
it's
solid C
all.
plus at this point.
I'm more of the D minus, but or F plus, but he passed. It's kind of an F plus, but you passed. And maybe an F plus is all. Maybe he is like. I'm just pretending like, okay, he's a super great guy. He bows down to Israel, does whatever. But it's. I got my wish. I didn't have to see Hillary Clinton on nearly the level for another 4 years. Like, how old are you?
Me, 35.
Yeah, I'm almost 40. So, like I said, one more election cycle, and you're going to be like, oh, none of this matters, basically. But like to see Hillary Clinton for that long, it's like, and to have seen enough history to watch like what a president used to appear like versus like this clown show. and screaming, just the women involved in politics screaming, and they're always these crazy Democrats. It's horrific. Like, fire them all. Like, why do we need? I don't need leaders, especially not like. And I love women, and I know like 10% of them are superior to a bunch of dudes too, as far as what they would vote for. But leading us in formal ceremonies worldwide with like these crazy bats.
Well, I mean, you expect some of this to come out of politics. I mean, people say this is the worst politics has ever been in history, especially in this country. But Alexander
It's
Hamilton
definitely the most
shot Aaron
prominent.
Burr.
I love that. I know. Bring back the duel. That's what I'm saying. We've lost. It's like back in the day, you could, sir, I demand honor, and now it's like, no, you don't get it. And if you touch me, I'm going to take you to court. It's like there needs to be like a slap with the glove, and you either say, yeah, I'm a bitch, I'm sorry, and walk away, or you go out back, take 10 paces, and deal with it. We take entirely too much guff as a culture.
Yeah, that we do.
Like, I think the new stream I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna get a body cam, try to get it a little bit low pro, and just show people what I deal with on a daily basis talking to normies. It's insane.
I would subscribe to that. I would love to see that.
See? It'll be good, dude. Trust me. Like, there is no shortage of material. Like every like I'll leave the first stop sign I come to. I'm move your ass out of the intersection. I have to like direct and like trap. I've been like getting into some patent and some of that too, and like seeing where all the drill instructor kind of stuff comes from.
Hmm.
And it's because it's like that's how you lead men or anybody. It's like leading human beings. Like if they're sheep at all, if you just take that tone and that like I need this to happen now, it tends to really work.
Yeah.
So I picked up a little. I got some more game under my belt with that stuff.
So I want to go back to this impeachment thing, and the next topic I want to hit here is: have you seen now? Trump has organized his legal team for all of this, and
Yeah,
have you seen who he's put on board for all
Dershowitz,
of this?
Dershowitz, and the
The
Clinton
Clinton
wiener
dude,
guy.
Ken
Yeah,
Starr, which both
Ken
of them
Starr.
were
There you go.
Epstein's lawyers. On top of that,
Kenny Starr.
yeah. Which
Yeah, I just it doesn't look good. But like Trump's already so mired in the Epstein thing anyway. It's like you know.
I would love to see Trump take the stand and go on one of his rants, as he likes to do, and then at the end of the rant, after he's done defending himself, after he takes a stand, whatever, makes a statement, the end of his statement say, "And Epstein didn't kill himself."
It's a pretty good Trump too.
I would love to see that.
Or the Q people will just make it up out of something he said. Gematria.
Oh Jesus, the QP. I only recognize one Q.
The one in the flag.
No,
GLBT or whatever.
no, John
One
Delancey,
Q.
the guy from Star Trek. That's the only Q I recognize. Go ahead. It's on the tip of your tongue. I'm hearing it.
No, I'll let it go. Star Trek isn't that important to me, but were you like an old Star Trek dude or like the new generation thing?
Well, I actually started on Voyager, and then I actually did Voyager, then Enterprise, and then I just kind of worked backwards. So I'm working on original series right now.
Do you watch Marvel movies? Like Marvel
I
action figure movies?
I quit after Age of Ultron because it was just too much.
Yeah. There's some that my buddy like liked Luke Cage, and I kind of remember it,
Hmm.
and every once in a while a Wolverine, but it's like, do they make any other movies anymore? Like
No.
occasionally, and it's not like I'm a huge fan of Tarantino's like sick perverted mind, other than like, man, the guy can make a pretty good movie, but like something's got to be done. Like that's what I mean. The wheels are coming off the entire thing. Like politics is in the shitter, and like they can't even make a good movie. It's getting like we're on here doing this to entertain ourselves because it's more fun than what they're putting out. Like their propaganda machine sucks.
Well, it's not just us for Independence for news. I mean, one of the best TV
Yeah,
shows that I watched was a YouTube video series that got picked up by Netflix.
nice.
Video Game High School. It was all independent. It was made in an independent studio from the beginning, from the start to finish. And after they finished up with the season, Netflix says, "Hey, have some money. We want to put you on our channel." That is one of the best TV shows I've ever watched. The
It's like
writing was really,
Clerks or something. Just people just made it themselves and it worked.
yeah. Well, yeah,
I
Clerks is
like
another
that.
one.
Um, and that was actually something that kind of my staying aloof of politics was what Reuters tells us what to say while they refuse to print anything that we're not supposed to know. It's a perfect seamless thing. So unless it's an alternative link that is somewhat verified third party, it's like all of it is like, well, which liar do I trust? Like, if you read a paper, then you're misinformed, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But the impeachment.
Yeah, there's one more topic I want to touch on this, and I got a video to go with this here. Now, Lev Parnas, who was a Giuliani associate, who's actually under indictment right now, he is facing pretty serious charges. I'm not sure what all he's under, but he's facing a good long time in prison, from what I understand out of this. Went on Rachel Maddow this past week to explain that he knew, even though he's never spoken to Trump firsthand, but he knows
I
that
got
Trump knew.
something you don't know. That's what he came on and said, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
boo.
yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it was.
I
So
got a secret, I'm telling.
yeah, he was on Maddow to tell us all that he knows that Trump was in on it, that Giuliani was in on it, that everybody in the cabinet was in on all of this, and all of them need to go straight to prison, including Pence. I remember earlier on in the week when I first heard about this for the first time, it was
That's
because
not going to
President
happen.
Pelosi was trending on Twitter.
I'm going to make a bet right now that that's not happening because, like, Pence is a robot and he looks like, again, a general. Like, he has had a dark ops career somewhere, and that guy's not going to jail. Like, all those dudes together are not going down. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, nope, sorry, you're the one that's LARPing and you are going down.
So you
Good
don't
luck
want to
with that
see President
stiff
Race
jail
Bannon?
penalty. No, and it's like what was what he's alleged to do worse than James or Joe Biden's son getting bribed into the Ukrainian oil deals? Is it a worse crime than that at least? Like,
Apparently it is. Let's see what Lev Parnas had to say.
You mentioned that you were trying to get Mr. Shokin a visa to come to the United States.
Correct.
Why were you trying to do that?
Well, after the conversation Mr. Shokin had with Mr. Giuliani that we had Skype, they have discussed and arranged that they were going to have Mr. Shokin come here, and Mr. Giuliani wanted to debrief him here in front of Mr. Lindsey Graham and certain other people like the Attorney General.
Because Mr. Shokin was going to say what?
He was basically going to testify and say that Joe Biden basically forced him out because he was going to investigate Hunter Biden and Burisma.
Was the president himself ever involved in the effort to get this visa for Mr. Shokin? In the text messages that were released, Mr. Giuliani appears to tell you he's going to get number one involved in this effort to get Mr. Shokin into the U.S.
Absolutely.
Was that a reference to the president?
Absolutely.
Did the president ever work on it?
Of course.
So that's what I have from that there. It's just a
man,
little
I
bit
wish I could have heard that without the echo.
I'm
All
sorry.
blaring out. No, I don't know if I turn this on, it just goes pop, 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 pop. I hope it's not feeding that.
No, I didn't catch any of it. We'll check with the live chat here once we're done with this. But yeah, I didn't catch any of that, any echo
You're
of
gonna have
this.
to summarize that then, because I was out of the loop.
Well, essentially, there was a text message that was released out of Giuliani that said that he was going to get number one involved, and Lev Parnas assured us all that that was Trump, and there was more to the interview too. I drudged my way through the rest of it, but I didn't want to make the show entirely a rebroadcast
Begrudgingly
of
judged.
Rachel Maddow. But yeah, from what I saw out of this, Parnas went on to MSNBC and said that yes, everybody knew, put everybody in prison. Which, once again, he is getting ready to go to prison himself. So I don't know if he's
Isn't
trying
this
to
whole
build
thing operated on blackmail anyway?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not surprised you know some dirt on these guys. I mean, I'm blown away that they like threaten it like that, and like
Well,
I said, I think it's almost better when we don't know how dirty this is. It's like it's a cesspool.
Well, this is one thing that I've been really, I don't know, bothered by from the beginning of this. I mean, even going back to Kavanaugh and what was going on with him, when he was getting examined and re-examined and taking the anal probe from the Senate so he could go be a Supreme Court justice. And that's the fact that these people come in and they make these statements on cable TV or whatnot, or write a letter to Pelosi, and this is the smoking gun that is going to convict and end the career of somebody who's got a decorated political career in Kavanaugh's case, or somebody who's actually doing good for the American people in Trump's case. Yet they take this at their word without ever having a cross-examination.
Oh, that's news, dude.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's been verified. It's on the network news. It's cool. Can you imagine the person like sitting down to their? I'm just going to pretend it's a typewriter and going, Dear Nancy, like, I got some shit that I want to tell you because I am a horrible person and I fucking hate Trump and orange people, white people too, and I just want you to take more money from me. Please, take the guns.
Yes, that was the direct impression of Christine Blasey Ford.
Yes. I have a fuzzy memory about something and I'm pissed.
So, I believe Parnas is supposed to be called to the... Well, no, he's not going to get called to the stand, I don't think, because obviously now he's going to have to get cross-examined, and I think he's full of shit. He's never talked to Trump in his life. He knew Giuliani outside of the Trump thing, is what this all came down to.
Again, if this isn't just completely theater, it's like, you know that they scripted this out by like day 3 of his like inauguration. Like after he won the vote, by day 3, all of his handlers were like, is there any dirt that has... And Trump's been in business so long, like if he's not getting busted for, hijacking the concrete with the Teamsters and stuff in New York, it's like, I don't think he's got a bunch of dirt that they can just like LARP on him.
Right.
He's a pretty crafty guy, and yeah, okay, grab him by the pussy, but it's like, what was that? That was a hidden camera moment, basically, versus, him all, like, yes, I will totally take that bribe and work with this foreign country and against my own nation. It's like that didn't take place. He's not that dumb.
Well, the thing with the Billy Bush tape that's always bothered me is what they were trying to get dirt for, because that happened in 2004. 12 years before.
Almost like they know what's going to happen before it happens. Simpsons.
I like that, Simpsons. All right, let's check in with the live chat to see what we've got going on here.
Toffee Larvo.
Let's see. Does anybody ever have any really cash? I think that's where we left off. Duke Roll says the C word candle. Don't say the C word. Say the actual word, man. Stephen Ignoramus, straight from Gwyneth's Candle Store. What did I miss? Aaron Burr deserved it. That's great. Duke Roll says, you smell funny, Stephen Ignoramus. It's called a cunto. Seawall's here with his half track. I believe they are calling me out for my Star Trek fandom. So there's a new trans superhero. Its power to trick straight men into liking dick.
I don't like that superhero at all.
Hamilton deserved it. Damn Central Banker lover. I like that.
Yep. That is an accurate statement.
It is.
That was Ron. Good job, Ron. I approve 100%. 110.
Apparently, Aaron Burr got milk commercial. I'm not sure what was going on. I could look into that and see, but yeah, I'm not sure.
You don't remember that? You don't remember that? I remember. He's got peanut butter and he can't answer the trivia question and win $1 million.
Oh.
It's like, should have had milk.
Now I remember.
See, I've been programmed by the television at one point in my life. I remember stuff. Weird.
Not milk. All right, let's talk about 2020 coming up here. So we had a little bit of a debate. Did you see any of that stupid crap show?
I watched part of the first one, but again, my immunity is high right now.
One of the first things that was pointed out to me when I was listening back to some of this, and I'm very close to Minnesota, so I see this a little bit differently on here. But for the rest of the country, I know Jen the Libertarian brought it up on her show when she was reviewing this, was how does Amy Klobuchar keep making these things? Nobody's talking about Amy Klobuchar anywhere else in the country except for Wisconsin and Minnesota. Maybe Iowa. But yet she keeps getting on the stage every single time. She hasn't missed one yet.
I think it's because people are. I think that the left, quote unquote, and the right, quote unquote, have more in common than they have not in common, and it's the vocal minority that's making things super ridiculous, and a lot of people are just tuned out. They either like don't like Trump and they're just over it, or they just don't want to see, like, again, it's LARPing. It's just like, it seems like they're just out of control. So give me an update on Amy Klobuchar, by the way.
Uh, the Minnesota senator. She is currently, I believe, at 1.2 in the polls, which I believe she was supposed to be at 2 to make everything, but for whatever reason, she keeps coming in. She's passing the donor threshold somehow, and she's just a generic
Is she
Democrat
like an
candidate.
Ocasio? Okay, so
Yeah.
is she like an Ocasio Cortez type of?
No, not at all. She is a generic Democrat from a Union state.
Tulsi Gabbard. There's kind of another one. Like, what's your opinion on that? Like, I think it sounds good for pillow talk, but it's like, nah, A, wrong wrong chromosomes. B, you're a Democrat, dude. Like, I don't trust you. Like, I don't know how much of this is real. It's like we are totally living in an illusion, but it's like I don't trust anyone that's willing to put that next to their name with having anything to do with the Constitution job.
Well, and I mean, I would like to see Tulsi Gabbard in a wetsuit. I believe I would enjoy that.
She kind of got a big neck. Freaks me out a little bit.
Huh? I know Mr. Benjamin has accused her of being a man at some point. But he's accused every woman of power of being a man.
He's not all
that. Well, the big takeaway from this debate, I mean, we looked at the debate and it was all generically the same. It was people asking serious questions of the candidates and them deflecting the questions back into their whatever their pet projects were.
Prepared speeches.
Except for Andrew Yang wasn't there to talk about universal basic income this time. Did you know that Andrew Yang started a business?
A politician that's been a business person?
Well, I mean, he tells us at every debate, so I didn't know if you knew that or not. He says it like 7 or 8 times during the debate. Well, when I started a business.
Have you looked into what the business was?
I have not.
Was it shoes? Did he sell shoes? Has he got like Al Bundy school under his belt?
Maybe. Well, I know his big pet project is automation, and I don't think he realizes what it takes to drive a truck in Wisconsin in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fully not on board with robots taking over any more of my life than it already. The other day I went to get a haircut. I couldn't get a haircut because I just wasn't feeling it, and I'm no longer doing things I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I told them my name because they're like, oh, your name, and then they're like, your phone number. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I got cash. Oh no! It turned into a whole thing, and I was like, pretend I'm retarded and I'm not good with numbers and make up whatever you need to make your machine work, and I'll get it. Sir, this is unprofessional. I'm like, yes, it is. It is very unprofessional. Like, I gotta go. Like, I can't do it. And I ended up going to a better spot, but people don't need more robots. People need less robots and more activities, more hobbies.
Well,
we need more Stefan Ignoramuses.
Well, it's funny you bring up unprofessional because one of the highlights from this debate was the fact that the moderators came up, first off, and brought up the bombshell report that had been released 24 hours approximately before the debate, in which Team Warren came out.
In quotes.
Team Warren came out and made a statement that during a private conversation between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, Bernie had assured Elizabeth Warren that a woman could not be elected president in this country. So, of course, the moderators had to talk about that on stage and bringing it up and asking Senator Sanders about that. Now, Sanders is never known for being a reserved guy. He's very emphatic, and he was very emphatic with this, emphatically saying that back in 1980, there's video of him saying that he believes that a woman could be president and, in fact, should be president at some point. And this was...
Oh, he's a flip-flopper.
Well, and this was in 1980, so, and again, he was on the stage and he was very emphatic saying, no, I did not say that. In fact, look back at my record. I've always advocated to have a woman for a president. I want the woman to be my president and bring me my pudding cup. So he,
Or cup of brew.
yeah. So, I mean, he was very emphatic about that. And as soon as he was done giving a speech, the moderator then turned over to Elizabeth Warren and just completely threw shade at Bernie and said, okay, how did you feel when Bernie Sanders said that a woman could never be president?
And what was her cluck cluck response? The
Oh,
chicken
well, I
head
don't.
in the
Bernie
shoes.
Sanders is a friend of mine, and I don't want to do this now on live television.
Oh, we haven't practiced for this one quite well enough yet.
Pretty much.
She literally just like dove on the grenade. Like, oh, he jokes around a lot. He's like Joe Biden. He's a little grabby.
Well, the argument didn't end there, as everybody was going through and shaking each other's hands at the end of the debate. What had happened was looked like I forget who went approached to. It looked like Elizabeth Warren approached Bernie Sanders to shake his hand afterwards, and he refused. And there was a vocal exchange between the two of them, but nobody could hear it. They obviously had the microphones turned off for television, so it wasn't transmitting out anymore. We saw the handshake dodge, and then Steyer got in the middle of it, and that was the
it
end of
super
that.
obvious? Are you going to show it?
Yes, I am going to show it, but
Show the sweet handshake dodge.
well, you're going to see the bonus of that because less
If
than
I
a
go
day
grab my
later.
other headsets too, I'll be able to listen without it feeding back.
Well, there's subtitles on this one. Because the very next day, CNN released video of this, and I actually put Anderson Cooper talking about this before the actual scene on this, so we can see what it was that he was saying here. But CNN released the audio of what had happened during that exchange as well, and it's subtitled in this video here. So,
Nice.
so let's have a look at what that looked like.
Little looks.
Tonight is CNN exclusive on probably the most talked about moment of last night's Democratic debate, which actually happened just seconds
I have no
after
cough
the
button either.
debate, after the confrontation over whether Senator Bernie Sanders once told Senator Elizabeth Warren that a woman could not be elected president. Even
There he is,
without
the
the
CIA
sound, the
guy.
moment did not look like a warm and friendly encounter. But without actually knowing what was said, it was impossible to know for sure. Tonight, CNN is the first to obtain the audio, and we're going to play it for you shortly. But first, Jeff Zeleny joins us now with more on the story that it tells. Jeff, go ahead.
Anderson, good evening. It was an extraordinary moment. As you said, it was seen but not heard as Elizabeth Warren came face to face with Bernie Sanders in the moments right after the debate last night in Iowa. Now, rivals were shaking hands and they were congratulating each other for a job well done. But Warren clearly had something on her mind to tell Sanders. And tonight, we know just what it was.
Here it is.
Yeah, this,
I think you called me a liar on
it's
national
faded
TV.
on either side of the mic.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You called me, you told me, all right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle of it. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah, I do fade that out there. So,
Okay.
so
I got you. I see why. I got the gist. Thank you.
yeah, copyright's a bitch.
It is. I'm an open source advocate myself. Although I'm not totally against patents either, but that's off subject.
So, essentially, Elizabeth Warren went up to Bernie and says, I think you called me a liar on national TV. And Anderson Cooper was coming out. One of the first things he said was, he said, okay, the main talking point is this exchange between Bernie Sanders, but nobody could hear it across America. But we obtained audio of all of this. But CNN put on the debate, so they had the audio. This isn't a
Las
major
Vegas
leak or anything
cameras.
like that.
You could get it from any of these 63 cameras or the tree of microphones that's under each of them.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you were stealing it from somebody or any journalist. You had the audio. It
I'm
was
sure
there.
any not even hacker, but just someone that has any frequency skills that's like normally does that job could have like found the frequency and saved it. But notice no one does. So we never get to,
Yeah.
seems almost like it's scripted like WWF or like I thought there was going to be a Royal Rumble afterwards. She
Have you-
calmed it down though.
Have you heard RRC's wrestling theory?
I have not.
He
I'd
is.
like to.
Check out Stephen Ignoramus's channel from the last time that he interviewed R-rated conservative, because
Okay.
they went over it together this last time, and I would not do the explanation justice. You got to hear it from the RRC in that New England accent to get the full gist out of it.
You really do.
You do. But yeah, it's
That guy is a poet with curse words. It's
With-
kind of like an East Coast white too short.
I like that.
I really appreciate it because I showed up the other day at the end of one of his streams. I'm always showing up at the end of his streams, but dude, he just roasted Hillary just in the way that only a guy that super hates Hillary can, off the cuff. It was so great.
So, what did you think about this exchange between the two of them? And then, of course, Steyer came in right away. It's oh, Bernie, I just wanted to say hi, and just kind of rushes him out of the way.
What am I supposed to get from it? Like, I always have this dichotomy where it's like, how much of it should I allow myself to get baited by versus, because some of that stuff seems like genuine, like when they screw up, but it's also like, they just shh. And it's like, what I get from it that they're on the same team no matter what, and that team is get as much money from the American middle class as they can, while this shit's on fire.
Well, I
Try to
can't.
take their guns away.
I can't speak to the motivations of Warren and Sanders themselves. I don't know if they set
I'm
this
not
up
omniscient
or.
either.
I can't speak to, but going through Twitter, going through Discord, watching their fans online go back and forth with each other after this exchange, I don't think that it's possible for an Elizabeth Warren fan to vote for Bernie Sanders if he gets the nomination, or vice versa at this point. So I think they just shot both of themselves in the foot.
Sweet. More foot shooting, guys and gals.
Well, yeah, we can't be
Bring your
sexist.
arrows and muskets.
Oh God.
Circle the wagons, boys.
Oh God.
That's what I mean. Like, did someone actually set up something to where, they blew it out of proportion just for political, some Roger Stone smooth fucking political machinery guy, and they're like, let's blow this up and get the Twitter feeds going 11 seconds later, and oh my God, can you believe? And maybe it's again, if the two parties are not both sharing notes constantly, how much of it is a business? A house divided cannot stand, and this little house they have has stood for quite a while.
Well, I've got one more video I want to share here. So all of Bernie Sanders'
Well,
staffers,
what did you think about it?
the whole thing,
What was your takeaway on it?
I think it was a setup that went horribly wrong, to be completely honest. I think they were trying to set up. I really think that Elizabeth Warren is the nominee that the DNC has picked out, and I think they're going to try and schlong Bernie Sanders again. I think Bernie Sanders is going to bend over and take it, but I don't think he's going to be able.
Really vote for Elizabeth Warren?
I don't know
It's a
anybody
joke,
that
right?
would, but I think the DNC has picked her.
I mean, is the DNC really getting this megalomaniacal and bad at because they were operatives when the Clintons were running their scams in Arkansas and stuff, and it seems like now it's oh, come on, have a better plot. You got to have some. Are they really this bad at it? They're so aloof again. They're so aloof of the public that they don't know how awful they come off the entire time.
Well, and for the most part, too, they also believe the fact that everybody in the country wants to see Trump gone, so they're going to vote for whoever they put up. Or they're throwing a Mondale up because they know that they can't take Trump down. That's the other thing I can think of. This is a Walter Mondale moment.
Do they not already have a basic outcome of 90%? Let's say they actually count votes.
Mm-hmm.
Do they not have it down to a better than percentile exactly how it's going to go, no matter who they run? If you're game boarding this and strategizing, it seems like you take one look at that chicken cluckhead and be like, I'm not voting for that, dude. That looks like that lame teacher I had back in the day. She was crazy.
Which one? Warren or Klobuchar? Well,
Warren.
they're both crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, she has that public sector never had to worry about anything. Charm, horrible person with bad ideas, pushing on people, kind of aura about her.
Well, I mean,
I literally like from like being playing cards and all sorts of stuff. It's like I size people up pretty good just by looking at them. Like, yeah, something's fishy. I mean, I make mistakes, but it's like with politicians, you're like, not that one.
well, she does have things to worry about, remember? She was fired by the principal that begged her to stay because she got pregnant.
Can you believe that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Desperate. Desperate.
Indeed. So, the last thing I want to touch on with this here is that all of Bernie Sanders staffers...
She is the last thing I want to touch on.
Yeah. I'd rather touch on Gwyneth Paltrow.
And soon you may be able to.
Bernie Sanders staffers all have their Twitter accounts locked right now in private, so unless you are already following them, you can't see anything that they were going. They have to approve you on Twitter as well because they got into panic mode. They got into panic mode.
Because they're liars, they do this.
One of Bernie's staffers was leaked from Project Veritas saying essentially that we need to re-educate the resistors of the socialist movement, and I have the video from RS.
Yes. Full on.
All right, let's see what that looks like.
It really is like you got to know your history of Bolshevism and the whole World War II thing and why they're, it's all, we're totally infiltrated and run by other people.
And unfortunately, I had to blur the edges on this one too, so you're not going to be able to see the subtitles.
So if Trump gets reelected, what?
And cities burn.
What we gotta do?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of time left. We have to save like human civilization. And obviously, Trump don't give two about making sure that the world doesn't.
Guys like that. What are we gonna do with them? Gulag. Liberals get to fucking wall first. What are we gonna do with those people that resist the change? Because that's a big deal.
Well, I'll tell you what. In Cuba, what do they do to reactionaries?
They shot him on the beach.
This is why I don't like people that look like him either. Honestly, it's like you're taking it too far, but I appreciate you like sticking it out there to make it easy for normal people to figure it out.
Well, yeah,
that's nuts, dude. That's what I mean. They say this in open, and it's not even sarcastic or, I mean, they're laughing, but that's what Meglin and I'm sure Stalin laughed a lot too.
Yeah, I mean the last one too. Well, what are we going to do about the people that resist? Well, what did they do to reactionaries in Cuba? Well, they shot them.
I have read the book too. We are communists. This is so good. Oh, they don't even know that we're subversive as fuck.
Oh, the big thing that they've been trying to push on us is this isn't going to be like the Gulag socialism or the take the resistor out back and shoot him in the head. And then this videos like this come out. Well, it's democratic socialism. It's different.
People don't want to just disarm themselves. Weird. Weird how I don't trust certain people at all.
And that's become center mainstream on the Democrat Party at this point too, which really bothers me.
And deep down in their hardened little hearts, because they've never gone up against nature or man or had any confrontation for real, they've whipped themselves into this hysterical frenzy, and they just imagine the boogeyman, and they're literally just bringing out whatever they imagine is what their life is going to reflect, and they're creating the universe. And it sucks because I'm seeing it too, and I'm like, that's why there you go. That's part of why I don't focus on certain things, is I really don't want to bring that energy into my life, and there is something to that. But I mean, that's pure evil. It's stone evil. It's not even like, the Patriot level, like where we all know that evil stuff happens, but like you can kind of explain it away, and you're like, well, at least I'm on team us, But that's just like we're totally. it's like, does any of this look better than it did 20 years ago to you guys? Like, take a good look, dude.
Yeah, and I got these kids on Twitter that are always saying too, like, I will not rest
Lots of
until
kids
we.
on Twitter don't
Yeah.
say that on the air.
I will not rest until we see anarcho-communism. Like, okay, if there's anarchy, then who holds the gun to take out the resistors?
Well, the watchers will, and I'm one of the watchers.
Yeah.
See, that's what every Bolshevist thinks is like, in their little demented minds, that they're going to be the ones in charge. It's like, you're the first ones to go.
Yeah.
'Cause no one's scared of you. You're not the ones they're scared of. You were useful idiots. That's what your role was, and you played it to a T. Thank you very much. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. I told you we'd have a good time.
Oh, I can't wait for this next section, because this is all about off the cuff. My questions for you. So at the end of the 2020 segment, I always ask the guests 3 questions. It's the same 3 questions all the time. And I never announce it in the itinerary because I want to get a raw, pure response off of this. So, based on the news stories that we've seen, the statistics that you've heard from various sources from this week, as of right now, who do you think is going to be statistically the nominee for the Democrat Party for president?
Based on the propaganda I have just received from you, I'm going to say Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
Because I would trust you more than you're, and that's just it. It's like having an I like that alternative media like this. It is like having your own intelligence assets, and it's like, how good is the intelligence? Well, I don't know, but it's definitely better than whatever I'm going to get, like looking through some pushed feed, So I'll go with what you said.
The next question I always ask is, based on what you have seen from the candidates, and there are currently 14 running, if you had to, for whatever reason, you have to have one of these 14 Democrats that are running for president as your next president. I don't know, say Trump strokes out on the campaign trail and Pence can't pull it together, and one of these idiots has to be president.
Trump strokes out and Pence can't pull it together.
Which one of these is the lesser of 14 evils? Which one is going to make you feel the least scared for the future?
Beelzebub himself.
He's not running, unfortunately.
Lucifer, because at least I know what kind of script he runs.
He's not running currently, unfortunately. So I got to throw that one out.
I guess that I would just say that Tulsi Gabbard, is she even in there anymore?
Yeah, she's still in it. They're not letting her on any more debates. She's already done what she's needed to do, but yeah, she's still running.
Is she like trending big where you are? Like, was she at all, or was that mainly a West Coast kind of thing where it's like, yay?
No, she's trended quite a bit.
Okay.
Especially with the I vote present for impeachment because I can't say yes or no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then like the little videos she makes. Look what Trump just did. This is our men and women in the force. It's like, first of all, women shouldn't be in the armed forces, at least on the battlefield. Secondly, don't you have some man sandwich to make? Aren't you late for dinner?
Disavow.
I really don't know why we let ourselves be led around by the ears by crabby women like this. Like, you don't have to. You just stand up, and they appreciate it. I got to say, like, I'm with Owen on like a lot of that, because it's like, if you know how to command men, it's like you should kind of know how to command women a little bit. And they're crazy, but like, what is this thing where we just take this as okay? I think it's part of the public education system where it's like, oh look, strange people, women that we don't know, and they feed us whatever we're supposed to know as kids, and then we get used to having female authority roles. I think it's not the way human society would ever work.
I got one more question for you, and then we've got to get to the live chat here because they're getting cranky because we're not talking to them. Last question then is for pure entertainment value, no statistics, no policy prescriptions, just for the laughs. Who do you want to see on the debate stage next to Trump come September? Who do you want to be the nominee just so you can laugh at them while they go through?
I really don't want it, but I would say Bernie. Just for pure comedic value, Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders has to be the.
An angry guy from Manhattan arguing with an angry guy from Brooklyn.
It's not even from Manhattan. He's like he was like Beavis and Butthead's next door neighbor, old man guy. Beavis. Sounds like literally just like him.
That's the principal, not the next door neighbor guy. The next door
the
neighbor guy sounds like
principal,
Hank Hill.
Yeah, there you go.
Ain't you them two boys what been whacking off in my tool shed?
Damn it, Bobby.
That movie is on Netflix. I found it last night, so I'm gonna watch that after the show here.
Beavis the Butthead Do America?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
All right, let's check in with the live chat here. So, where did we leave off? Last we checked, Duke Rose said not milk. So, Ron Helton says, who has time to watch TV anymore? There's a conspiracy between John, Rob, Steven, and Ed to keep me tied on YouTube. Well, it doesn't have to be YouTube. We have Twitch and DLive, too.
Yeah, DLive's way better, everyone. You should just go over to DLive and get it over with. It's like seriously fun over there, but except when all you're reading is Restream brought, because if there's only one or two of them, it's okay. But when it's just that, it looks like propaganda.
Seawall says she'd salad with a comb. That was a secret requirement to be on stage. So that was Amy Klobuchar. The hilarious part about Warren saying she can't trust Sanders to be president because he's a liar, says the woman who lied about her ethnicity to get a job, Hillbot Clone 2.0. We can't trust any of these politicians who want to found more government with people with money. CNN set the, quote, hot mic up, which, that I could see. That'll sell commercials. Seawall has an idea how to resolve American political issues, and he's driving his half-track. John bought an arming sword at the Scotch Highland Games, which I have not seen the videos yet. I've seen the announcement for him.
I was like, you're more of an arming sword dwarf. I can see it in you. You do not realize what the Emperor Katana is.
No, unfortunately, I don't.
We had a whole sword thing we had a sword fight on New Year's.
That's right. I remember us talking about that.
I was like, let me guess, you're into like arming swords and like hand and halfers. But how'd you know?
Seawall says that John can join his RWDS. I guess I don't know what that stands for then. John's going to show the sword off on his show later, so we'll have to check in with that after. I think if he's on by the time we're done, we're going to go raid him on Twitch.
He'll definitely pull that if he shows his sword.
Definitely.
18 and up. 18 and up, viewers only.
At least we'll have voted for gulags. That makes it way better. One-word proposal for dealing with commies. Helicopters. Disavow. I have to disavow that. I'm sorry. John says, but my YouTube views. John is asking if that's an acoustic bass that you have.
An acoustic. It's funny he said that because the acoustic bass is over there, so I do have one.
Yeah.
But that's just a guitar.
Regular.
In fact, I was hoping Steven would be here. It's like, come on, dude. I'm starting to get my chops back, and it's like, you should bounce some ideas off me. I think he's reluctant because he does music all day, but it's like, dude, nice.
I tuned mine up.
With a little jammy jam.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see if I got chops. Maybe, it's hard to make it work with the one. Let's try that. Is Steven there?
I haven't seen him. Steven, are you out there? You guys didn't know you were getting a concert today.
It's just like it's starting to come back, and it's like, come on, dude. There's no musicians left like in NorCal.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The world has gotten worse. It's like, I am so glad I learned an instrument because it makes your brain function on a totally different level. And some people still have it because they have rhythm, but it's definitely something everyone should make their children. Like if you're into authoritarianism at all, it's very European to induct your kids with music. It's good for them forever.
Seawall says RWDS stands for Right Wing Squad. I know what he said. And I disavow. On paper.
I disavow nothing.
On paper. All right.
Let's place him up tight.
So speaking of Stephen Ignoramus, let's talk about Virginia. So I left this completely wide open at this point because,
Virginia's for lovers.
yeah, well, it's also for gun violence and protests. Apparently, at least that's what the news tried to tell us it was all going to be
And
today. So
Quantico and Langley.
yeah. So what did you
It's a huge Fed training ground.
what did you see on the Boogaloo for today?
I was not underwhelmed because it looked like there was a lot of people. Looked like a lot of people were cold, just didn't want to put up with bullshit. And then Alex Jones showed up in his traditional fashion with his new not half track, which would be a lot cooler. And it was almost like vintage Alex Jones, and actually RC was talking about that too, where it's just like, I have to admit, like I finally like gave up on the whole thing, like back in '07, trying to like call Alex Jones wrong. Like this can't a CIA plane full of 3.5 metric tons of pure cocaine hydrochloride crashed in the Yucatan Peninsula in 2007. Plane tail numbers, like holy shit, that actually happened. And, like at first you think like I can just Google drop people and they'll see it, 9/11, all this stuff, and it's like it just doesn't work that way. And I finally went with philosophy because at least you can argue your point, run it through your own gristmill to see if it is moral or immoral, and it's made my life a lot easier and better. And that's actually an old school Stefan Molyneux plug, i.e. the pre-2016 Stefan Molyneux, pre-2014. But yeah, Alex Jones like is much of a sellout and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I hate that people say shill all the time, but super shill, dude, come on, super shill with dick pills. It's like you gotta have a little love for Alex, and no one got shot, no false flags, no. I didn't see any arrests. It seems like people kind of kept. I'm sure there were, but people kept their shit together. So,
Well, that's one of the things that I noticed too about this. I mean, we've been hearing for the last 4 days that this is going to become a violent protest, and it's all white supremacists that are going to go out and cause violence. And this was
the police might get tired of it and start making violence happen.
Yeah.
Send in the undercover guys to start throwing trash cans and lighting cars on fire.
Well, it's like Charlottesville too. I mean, we didn't get the violence at Charlottesville until the counter protesters showed up.
Exactly. Who are always allowed to be armed and always, it's just.
The counter protesters
Do they
can have
really want
rocks.
this to happen? It's like when I saw the streets just full of people from the drones and overhead, I was like, do they really want a civil war? Do they have any idea like how many people really don't mind dying and don't mind beating people up and worse things? And like if it happens, dude, because people are just waiting for it, and it kind of sucks because it's like we really don't have to do this. In fact, if we just took away the 19th Amendment 100 years ago or more, none of this would be happening right now because men would have led you to a super awesome future. Men like me, I've got a plan.
Well, I'm, as usual, going to cuck on the 19th Amendment thing because that's what I do.
Okay.
I'm as milquetoast as Tim
I only
Pool.
half mean it too, but
Yeah.
I was like pretty young when I was like, you know what, Mom? Like, I think that the reason things suck is because women vote. And she was like, you're really not wrong. I was like, my mom agreed with me, dude. I love you, Mom. And I must have been a sharp kid.
From what I've seen from the pictures that came out of all of this, and I'm still taking some time. I gotta check out Stephen Ignoramus's footage from there because he was down on the ground. So thank you for fighting the good fight, Stephen. Thanks for fighting the good fight and being down there, especially since
too.
I know Stephen. It was probably boots, maybe Jack boots. No,
Birkenstocks.
that would have been Seawell. There was some pretty impressive hardware down there. I know. Would you believe me if I told you that David Hogg was live tweeting most of this? The Parkland kid with the pencil neck?
I would never believe it.
Oh, he was live tweeting it.
David Hogg was hogging it up, huh?
Yeah.
Showing pubes.
And he wasn't showing pubes, but he showed a picture of a guy
Maybe
with
people would have listened had he done it.
He showed a picture of a guy with a full-on Barrett 50 cal and said, "You do not need this for home defense."
I know, these are tank busters. These are for armored things. It's cool. I've got this. And for really far stuff.
Yeah.
I know exactly what this is for, and I'm very well trained with it. Now fuck off, you scrub. You CIA loser stooge. Like, how is it that people don't just like see what that is? They're like, oh, more fake shooting. I don't know about all of them, but it's like, have you seen the New Zealand thing? That was so fake, fake. It's like, and they used it what to take the guns from the New Zealand people. Like,
No, no.
no
They
one
didn't
wants to
take the
talk
guns
about
from
it.
the New Zealand people. They convinced the New Zealand people to give up
To
the
give them up.
guns.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just it. It's like, how many of these people that are always LARPing about guns are going to actually die in their cold dead hands versus go, you know what, I don't want to die. People are super bougie and comfy.
Yeah.
I just want to throw bougie back in. But people are super comfy, and as long as you can keep them on the hummingbird supply of soda and like, you know, brain crack programming stations, most of them will be like, oh, no. It's I hate to say that because it's like, it doesn't take that many people having spine to, you know, they can motivate those people.
Yeah.
It's about motivation. You have to have the proper motivation, and there's certain people who can put that in other people, and those are us. We need to like work on being able to like in that. If things ever get dire, like, you know, car accident, like the way men don't like panic, do what any professional race driver would do and muscle it to the side of the road. It's like, if shit hits the fan, it's like, you built a bunker, that's great, but this isn't going to last very long. And watch, get out of your bunker and get up there. You're in the front line. Congratulations. You started this shit.
One of the things I'm going to be interested to see over the next week, if this doesn't completely disappear out of the news, is, you know, just what happened out of the end of all of this. Did we reach a consensus? Is Governor Northam going to have the talk? The legislature actually already did back down on a bunch of the proposals that they had.
Go psych.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go psych, but I think they understand that the
There's a
populace
better
is
legal term
pissed.
for it. I just forget.
Yeah.
The legal term is just kidding. Yeah, the populace is rightly pissed, and it's like, how dare they? Especially Virginia. I mean, we're talking 13 colonies and shit. And it's like, how fucking dare you? How dare you? Wieners that are. How dare you?
I thought we were going Greta Thunberg on this one. You've stolen my childhood, my dreams. How dare you?
It's only because her house went underwater.
I don't know.
Speaking of LARPs, Greta Thunberg. How do you take this? I'm really impressed that you can take so much of this seriously and do such a good job at doing that. Hats off to you. Because we need that. We need to, like, it's not that I'm genuinely disinterested. It's that I have to calm myself down. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I have to remain calm and shred on.
That's because I have awesome guests, obviously, that can keep me centered on the other side of it. No, I've got some people, I've had people on where I can be serious about this and still get the good laughs out of it. I know one of my favorite guests to have on the show is Harvey McLeod because, yeah, I mean, she's really good at taking this.
It's a lull fest, too.
Yeah.
Someone told me that, I think it was Mark Boggs, he was like, it is a sin to not milk a ripe lol cow.
Apparently Sewell sent me a
telling
DM.
God he's not that funny. You're like, oh, he's funny, all right. Just look at this one. Greta Thunberg.
Sewell sent me a message, and I actually have my private messages occupied by the left side of my screen. Oh, boy. I am going to put that up.
Surrender monkeys. I agree.
Yeah.
Sell out NRA, but then again, you know, it's almost like voting for a Republican when you're like, well, I guess I'm with the NRA because at least name. But it's they're all run by Bolsheviks. So
absolutely. And that was the thing too. I mean, Trump was out there saying, well, the Second Amendment is going to be defended. I'm going to defend the Second Amendment. And a lot of the libertarian crowd out on Twitter.
We're going to defend it this time. Like bump stocks.
Yeah, that's what they kept bringing up.
If you've ever ripped bump stocks, by the way, you learned before bump stocks ever came out, something called bump fire was figured out, where if you have a high enough caliber and you put your thumb in there or a stick and you just kind of pull forward, the reciprocation of the action causes bullets to fly out at a rapid pace. And it's like, all that does is burn up ammo while you're out in the desert having a good time. That's it. And it's like a bump stock. Like, what a retarded item for a combat weapon. Everyone knows that semi-automatics are what people use. You don't want to just dump ammo. Like, it's asinine. This whole, like, we've had guns for plenty of days. More people, like, I don't even know. It's like coconuts falling on people's heads. Bee stings. Ridiculous. It's like, white guys with guns are fine. We're good. And so are other people. There's black cowboys that have guns. Like those guys.
Yeah.
There's Mexican ranchers with guns. There's good old boys from everywhere. There's one place I haven't met them. There's one place in the Middle East where I don't know if there are good old boys or whether it's all bad. But everyone can handle their firearms. Get out of here with that. And all your, it's staged, or they're just baiting this stuff if it actually happens. I'm waiting for real events to happen.
Well, one of the things that was coming out of this argument that I kept seeing over and over again is that it's all racist white men that wanted to go and organize this.
Oh my God, am I a racist white man?
Well, and of course, the
Should
Confederate...
I hate myself right now? Am I supposed to be hating and fearing at the same time?
The Confederate flag came out at the protest too, and that caused quite a stir on all the news.
Well, I'm a good old rebel.
Yeah.
I identify with that flag. I know what it's like to almost be in the Civil War and to really start being like, well, we're going to do this?
Well, and what they called the Confederate flag was actually the battle flag for Virginia during the Civil War. It wasn't actually the Confederate States of America flag. That's the same thing for every Confederate flag that you see nowadays. That's not actually what the CSA was using as their banner. That was this banner specifically for the state of Virginia.
Flag, right?
What's that?
Hurrah for the Bonnie Blue flag that sails a Southern Star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kiss it.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me.
Well, that's just
have
it.
Some flags, dude.
If the people of Virginia are going to stand up against a tyrannical government, I would wave the battle flag of Virginia. Absolutely.
Seems almost appropriate, in fact. Damn near appropriate.
But going back onto the racist thing, too, I mean... Well, this is just...
Continuing your racist rant. Go ahead.
That's what they kept saying. Well, this is just racist white men that want to enforce... The only reason for the Second Amendment is so racist white men can enforce racism.
Oh, my God, the racism. God. Are we still doing that one, too? It's like... No such thing. Jesse Lee Peterson's right. No one is actually racist. We just don't like people that suck. If we're good, we just don't really like sucky people. And those come in like a lot of shapes and forms. And we're also a little bit tribal, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, and that goes back...
I appreciate it when black guys can bust balls and stuff. It's just like, I would like to have my ability to bust your balls back a little bit, because I got some good ones.
Well, and it goes back to the idea, too. You go back... Look back at gun control laws from where they incepted for the first time in this country. What were they meant to do? To keep the freed slaves from going back and rising up against their masters, their former masters. Gun laws were inherently racist.
Thing where I'm like that's why I'm philosophically an anarchist, anarcho-capitalist. Like if you had to put me in a box, but don't need leaders. Don't cotton to this kind of nonsense. However, in practice, it's like I'm on whatever team the people that look sort of like me and talk like me and have decided that we're all kind of on the same team. I'm on that team.
No gods, no masters.
I think the Constitution was like the barn door was open, the horses had left, and they're like, "You're free if you can keep it." Benjamin Franklin with his little left-handed path stuff. Whenever it's these same creepy guys. History is just full of these same guys that have like a lame homo handshake, and that makes them part of like team. We get to rule the world because we're smart enough to like plot stuff on the back end. I get the whole plot. Like, I think Amschel Rothschild was a genius for figuring out that they could give out receipts and steal gold and then create money out of that. Oh my God, it's great. It's genius. It's like Satan must have come to him and been like, dude, want to rule the world? Seriously. All you got to do is like for 200 years, just stick to the script, throw the rock, hide the hand. You got this. And him and his dirty little children went all around Europe, got all the major cities, all the banks, controlled the banks. That's it. Everything else has been just like the slow, eventual noose tightening as they're And it's so dumb. It's like, fuck your money, dude. We don't need that money. We could even make rip-off money that's better than yours. We could still rip people off and do it way better. We don't need a foreign rip-off.
Well, yeah,
So,
that's called Bitcoin.
yeah, there's that too. Exactly. But is everyone like on board with this, or am I just? Because you have to check yourself occasionally. Like, get a thermometer. I prefer oral. Take the temp. Make sure you're not running a fever or something. But it's debt-based money.
Yeah.
Soviet Bolshevists. They're in Mossad now and MI6 and the CIA and all that. They're all the same. All of our top technologies, Talpiot, 200, backdoor to everything. It's like spy network, and no one seems to notice and to care. That's like the news that I get. Like the Iranian thing. It's like, yeah, Brendan O'Connell said exactly what would happen 2 years ago. How did he know? Because he knows people in Tehran and he knows the game plan pretty much. It's like, this is how it goes. And a lot of this news does just keep us like, let's say, tell them with the left hand what they want to hear while the right hand hides our dirty secrets and lies. And I just wish that they had a little more respect for us to where they just didn't say anything. Like a good dictator at this point would be so much superior. One that maybe even loved his subjects.
I was told that I would be a benevolent dictator the other day.
Was it God?
No, it was Jake from Freedom Scoop.
Oh, well.
In which I said I can't really be a dictator because if I was a dictator, I would look back and
We'll
said,
just be a cartel and we'll just screw over all the little people, right?
no, if I was,
this is how that gets started.
if I was a dictator, I would just look at my subjects and say, leave me alone and don't kill each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is how I run a Discord server.
Nearly this much money. Take care of your own road. Don't screw around because we still got these missiles. We're making better ones.
Yeah.
Now, have fun. Wall going up every.
Well, I can't say take care of your own roads because I'm mostly libertarian and I hate roads. You have to keep that in mind.
Well, that's why I said take care of your own roads.
Yeah. No, I hate roads. Fuck those roads.
I've built roads. That's the whole thing. Whenever, like back in the day, people go, "What?" It's so crazy that is their instant. Like again, I got an original thought. I bet you never thought about how roads would work. It's like, it's weird. I have thought about it, and in fact, you know how roads are built? People build roads. They show up and they figure out how to build it, and they execute a plan. It goes off swimmingly, costs X amount of money, and there's no such thing as a government that ever shows up and builds a road. There's not like a cloud that just hovers over and lays tarmac in its path.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people do it, and it's way cheaper if people just do it without involving this third-party consultant. Like the government is just like that guy that's got to get his entangled claws on the clutches of everything. Like, oh, what you guys building over here? Oh, here's some rules for how to do that, and that's going to cost you.
Mm-hmm.
How did Americans put up with this? Is it just the television? I think the television's worse than 19th Amendment, but it's bound to happen. You can't curse technology, really. I mean, you can't. God, how I hate the 21st.
Well, I'm going to check in with the live chat here to see what we've got going on here. Before we go into women in politics again, because it looks like we're going to be doing that. Apparently I could...
gals in politics.
Apparently I could be the commissar, so I'll figure out what that is. John says, I always disavow everything everyone says, as well as everything I say. Duke Rolls says CIA drug dealers. Ron says, I stopped watching when they started doing their worship of the state routines. It started looking like an NRA function of surrendering our gun rights piecemeal. I know we were talking about that. Seawall sent me the DM of the marching people online.
You know who else did compromises? Indians. The great compromise of the super good deal of a few years later. It's like as their territory shrinks, mm-hmm. It's like the not so bad compromise of the next year. Like no more compromises.
Are you talking like actual Indians or Elizabeth Warren Indians? Because she doesn't compromise on anything.
Well, I meant other Native Americans who were here slightly before my people showed up.
Seawall's
They got a raw deal that I fully admit got a raw deal, but they fought an honorable and good fight, and it wasn't free, that's for sure, and good on them. That's how it's done. Like, just if they only had a little more technology, we wouldn't even be here. So God kind of worked that out, but like I give them full credit.
Seawall brings up the trigger crank when we were talking about automatics. Ron Helton says background checks are ludicrous. They remind me of inspection stickers for cars. You guys still do that shit?
They're like felons. Why don't felons get their guns back? If you're allowed to be out of the cage, that means we trust you because you can get a car, you can go find a gun immediately, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So if we trust you out of a cage, here's your gun back, here's your horse, here's your 6-shooter. Now get. Don't come back.
Or voting
No
for
one has the right to tell men what they can do. It's bullshit.
Yeah, or voting for anti-war politicians, and the first thing they do after getting in office is get the country into more wars. Bush, Obama, Trump, etc. Well, I don't think we've gotten into another
that's
war.
What it is. The mustache gets me like, it's like an antenna for doom. Like, I feel it.
The R-rated conservative's in here. He says he's just stepping in, so he missed the important part. No, we'll find important stuff yet.
Yeah, it was super. You missed it, man.
Seawall is taking my viewers over to the GenCap chat. Traitor. How would Seawall be as a supreme leader? I don't know. I think you would have a lot of helicopter flights to get there. So let's talk about Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Minnesota 5 Representative Ilhan Omar is currently under a pretty major federal investigation from what I've seen here. Multiple felonies have surfaced since she's taken office. These felonies include student loan fraud. Apparently, because of the way that she got married and did immigration, it affected her student loans when she went to University of North Dakota. She's also up for immigration fraud and, of course, bigamy for being married to two people at the same time.
Almost like Obama with the immigration fraud and the fake ID in the White House. By the way, let's just pause there. That happened. That's a thing that happened. Like, we've all seen the video. Like, it's a fake is a fake birth certificate. Why is our president's birth certificate fake? Can we just repeal everything he did because he wasn't actually a citizen? It's like, now they're going to come to my door. Like, he knows too much. The mustache is too powerful. Take him out. It's like, that happened. Like, how did we all just... In fact, Trump paid for, like... I mean, it might have been staged too, but the guy... sheep dipped as it gets. You know, like, how is it that someone can just, like, squeeze through the border here and fraud the colleges, fraud this, and then be like, I get to represent you now. And it's like, you know why? Because at least she has balls.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right here, right now. Ilhan Omar has balls. She hikes her leg up and takes a piss on all of her subjects, and she's ruthless. And that's how it's done. And that's why I can't. And zero respect for people. They have zero respect. Like, I love my people. I.e., I would vote for the guy that runs a gas station street, and just about every other office there is. Just like, I could walk outside and within an hour fill them with better people, and we'd have this turned around. Maybe
absolutely.
A couple hang-ins.
Well, the thing with Omar, too, is, I mean, first off, the shit that she's pulling with cheating on her husband, going off with the campaign staffer.
Slash brother.
No, the white guy, not the brother. Well, okay, the husband is be the slash brother. None of this shit flies in Islam, especially for a woman.
No shit. What was that mean? Like, Islam isn't wrong about jakes or whatever? Or Islam is right about women? Like, we laugh because there are certain things that work when you just don't accept henpecking is the way it goes.
Yeah.
And again, this is not to slight women, because like Mel will be my defense on this because she's heard my whole thing and it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But get it together, boys. Like, this is how you get everything you own taken from you, by being a beta. Beta! Like, you have to be amazing and project that with your mind and mustache 24/7, or you will get rolled up. I've been robbed, you know what I mean? I've been, like, stuck up and robbed and, like, had some crazy stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it just happens even to the best of us. So like, I can't imagine walking around like looking at my phone all day while I'm like outside. It's like, no, dude, like, it's like when you get on the airplane and you're like, all right, if this shit gets crazy, who do I get first? And then you see the other guys doing the same thing. You're like, that guy's on my team. That big guy over there, yeah, he's on my team. And if he's not, he's the first one going. It's like, that should be your mindset, is just be prepared. What happened to Boy Scouts? Oh, the guys are never.
Well,
I should have
that's
never been born in this era.
well, that goes back to where I said about Obama and the shit that didn't fly. She doesn't even wear a hijab half the time. She always wears a headdress, but half the time it's
Almost like she's an actor.
yeah, it's Sikh. It's not
Giant ball.
or Muslim. I almost said Islamic.
She wears the Sikh turban, basically.
Yeah.
Huh. I've known a lot of Sikhs, and I've never had a problem with one of them. In fact, in Yuba City is like one of the second largest like Sikh temples in the world. So
Yeah.
there's tons of them around here, and they're good business owners. It's like, boot that thing out. Like, how is that even something we're like going to see about later in court? It's like, if she's guilty as a guilty can get. That's treason. Hang them. Done. If the American people knew what we did, they'd be marching in the streets with pitchforks, like by noon, whatever that statement was. Yeah, we know what they did. Like, it's all corrupt, right?
Yeah.
Just all.
Well, you hit an interesting point there because I'm a little on the fences whether or not we're actually going to get anything out of this because, like you said, it's all corrupt.
Just shuffling deck chairs.
I mean, there's.
But if we get enough minds working on it, and we're like somewhat immune to the propaganda, and we sit there, and it'll be one of those ideas in like 4 years, you'll be in the shower one morning, you'll be like, ta-da, like, guys, I got an idea. All we have to do is get a bunch of gold, make money. Oh, wait, I already had that idea. It's pretty tough to beat because, like, every time you make $1, they've made 100. It's like, that's a tough game to come up on. You're like, you want to play again? It's like, this is the most rigged circus I've ever been to. No, I do not want to shoot the star out or throw darts. I do not want 5 darts for $3 or 3 darts for $4. I don't want to play your game. Your math is wrong. Debt doesn't equal wealth. Just let it. Just sooner the better.
Well, and with Omar too, it's
Quick flex.
yeah. With Omar too, it's you bring up the corruption and the power. I mean, what's to say? What happens if the special agent that's investigating, because they have an actual special agent
Yeah,
that's
he's not
assigned to
corrupt
this
for sure.
Yeah,
I've never heard of a corrupt DA or anything.
Well, even if he's not corrupt, I think he might actually be highly depressed and might get to a point where he shoots himself in the back of the head twice.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, the Kinkles is still on the loose,
And this is not a
Yeah, and how about
small-time
that?
politician.
Who doesn't know that? Oh, no. No, exactly. She's been stirring it up. It's like people want her head, and they won't get it. That's how bad it is. Is like, in fact, there needs to be like way more shooting from the hip on hanging politicians. Honestly, like, again, duels, whatever is fine, but like this whole thing where they just get away with murder, it's like, no, especially murder, it's a bad one. It's like, held to a higher standard means if you're cheating on your taxes, you better like come up to the. If you expect us to pay it, you better pay it, or else you're swinging from a rope. I'm not into it. And it's like, let's see how many of these people still want to try to run for office after that happens. It's like, if you're making money, just sit back and keep making money. Do whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're grifting. It doesn't bother me. But fuck it. You're out. Like, this is almost where a military. See, but they've strategized all this. If a military coup were to happen, it would be a plan. I mean, this is like not 5D Donald Trump chess. This is like 2D chess right there. But put it in action. Like, yeah, hanging. We need to bring back public hanging. Like, how come we can't just make that happen? People are too soft for that. The same people that want to send us to gulags at re-education centers think that that's like tough talk. That's nothing, dude. You used to be able to shoot a horse thief. Fine. My great-grandfather shot a horse thief back, and he said it was the only guy that he regretted killing and I have his rifle. Still have like an 1800s like old school rifle that I thought 35 that did it. And so yeah, it's like people dealt with their own problems. We didn't need a whole lot of other outside help dealing with even the worst of problems, like these.
Well, it's the same thing. Like, I get the point that you're going to. Let's cite George Carlin for this for a second. He had
Yeah,
a whole
exactly.
spiel on how he wanted to bring back the death penalty, but he didn't want to do soft American death penalty. He wanted to have,
Private.
in his words, fucking crucifixion. And he wanted to extend it out to drug dealers too. The drug dealers who are
I
selling the drugs.
disagree.
Well,
Unless it's the CIA guys, because I think it's ridiculous to tell people that they, as adults, can't have something that they want.
well, hear me
Like,
out
if
on
you
this.
want
Just
to, okay.
just on a basis here, because at the time, and I mean this was early 2000s, we were in the middle of the drug war, and that was accepted canon at the time. Now we're moving to a point where the drug war is not accepted canon, but his idea was extend the death penalty to drug dealers. If you want to see the drug traffic start to slow down, start executing one of these drug dealers by crucifixion, central prime time on the Monday Night Football game, and you'll start seeing that drug traffic slow down really quick. You won't even be able to buy drugs in schools and prisons anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the wall.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need a wall. We need that guy that's in Virginia with his 50 cal up there, and the first two guys that tried it, oh, look, we're, bam. That's the last two guys that will ever try to sneak through the border. That's, I mean, all these problems have such a basic, obvious answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the Trump that was pre-election was speaking to that. Like, dude, I could run this with my blindfold. It's ridiculous. These aren't big problems. Like, I'm used to a business where there's real issues. You know, trying to make money is difficult. It's like trying to stop people from going somewhere you want them. That's super easy.
Yeah.
High-speed projectiles take care of that wonderfully.
Well, and that's exactly where I was. I mean, yeah, I'm like you. I'm
They'll
like,
shoot us if we go under their secret bases out in the middle of the desert. That's fine. We just accept that as cool. But oh no, not the third world. No, just have to let the porous borders, almost like they have some other ulterior.
well, yeah, it's I'm against the drug war, like you are, as I was saying, but Carlin makes a good point by using the drug war as an example. You make an example out of the people that are fucking up, and a lot less people are going to fuck up.
Almost like they're not really fighting a war on drugs, but they're fighting a war on people.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like drugs don't
Uh-oh, I think I lost you.
really fight back, or maybe it got grappled.
I lost you there for a second. You froze right up.
Am I back?
You are back, yes.
I made it.
All right, we're going to check in with the live chat one more time here before we get into the lighthearted part of making fun of celebrities.
Nice.
So, Gen Gap has not started yet. Ron Helton kind of went off on a spiel here. Obama was involved in a lot of shady things, Solyndra, etc. The difference is that he would let others take out the trash. Trump jumps right in and stirs the pot. I will bet that Obama was in on Ukraine corruption as well. We had Sikhs in the military with us back in the early 80s. And you have gained a fan in Seawall 728. Punishment for abusing office should be treason.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Cap just went live. So let's finish
The
up.
whole thing with like
Go
the
ahead.
punishment for abusing office should be treason. It's, again, that's basic. Right? It's sort of like, oh, I caught my employee embezzling. I don't know. Should I fire him? Ooh, go ahead.
Fired and blackballed.
Cringe.
All right, so I got 3 quick hitter stories here to go along with this here. First off, we're going to talk a little bit of cancel culture here because Vince Vaughn, who is actually known for being a pretty lifelong conservative, is being attacked by the left, especially the Twitter mob, because there's a picture of him shaking Trump's hand.
I really like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
This. In fact, I'm going to segue into the lighterness by saying, let's all take a moment, because actors are by and large fucking awful,
Yes.
terrible people. Vince Vaughn is a legend with a legendary career from Swingers to Made, which is a super underrated movie. And what was that one thing he did, like prison, the one where he was like in that crazy dungeon thing, like fairly recently. And even when he did True Detective, it was like that was awesome. Like I love like he's hilarious. His height is perfect, 6'5", and I loved when like he had some dude bump into the guy's car, and then he comes over like, "Whoa, buddy, are you okay?" Yeah, it just like came out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh man, well, what do you think he did to piss him off?" But what? I mean, you had to have done something pretty bad to get some guys like that after you, right? Well, I don't know. Could it be that maybe he starts just like spelling it out? And he does a great job. He gets it. He gets it. He knows how to. That guy knows how to lead men and have a good time, and does not accept Becky. And they're gonna fire him. You're fired. It's like, okay, probably glad I'm fired. I got enough money to.
I actually had to
hope
look
you
up who
let
Vince
it-
Vaughn was
What?
because I've seen like
Well,
5
that's
movies
actually
in
a
my
good
life.
thing. That's a good thing because I can unobjective or without caveat tell you that most Vince Vaughn movies, if they don't have like an almost said Owen Benjamin, Owen Wilson in them or something like that, if it's obviously a chick flick, don't watch.
Yeah.
But if it's Made, if it's Swingers, which you've probably already seen, or like any of those other movies I just said, it's pretty good. He could.
Yeah. Do you think he is actually fired and canceled, or do you think he's going to make a comeback out of this?
It depends on whether they. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stand by my man right here and say it depends on whether they want an apology. I mean, he's not going to apologize for shaking a hand.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's how scripted is this?
What about Cardi B?
What about her?
So Cardi
You
B
tell
last
me.
year got actually very libertarian on taxes. She looked at her tax statement and said, "I don't know what this shit is going for. What the fuck are we doing with this?" And made a big statement on why taxation was theft, essentially. But she turned leftist again and got her
Oh, I'm
Trump
shocked.
arrangement syndrome going on. Looks like 2 weeks ago she said that she was going to flee to Nigeria, renounce her U.S. citizenship, and take on her rightful Nigerian
Sounds like someone
citizenship.
met a prince.
And she was going to run away because Trump was the president. But now she has announced that she's going to attempt to run for Congress.
It's almost like the Prince and the Pauper.
Yeah.
Only it's the Prince and the Whore.
Eerily enough, I think she could win if she ran for president. Or not president, but not Congress. I don't think she could win as president, but if she ran for Congress, I think she could win.
I'm sure. I mean, this is a video game at this point.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. It's bizarre that like, how is it palatable to the human soul? That's what I want. Like, how is it any wonder why people want their drugs
Yeah.
at this point?
Well,
Like, just give it to him for Christ's sakes. I mean, it's had enough. He went through 2016. It's already 2020.
well, going back to the celebrity thing in politics, because that's the reason I would say that she would probably win, is because she is a celebrity going into politics. Harvey and I had a pretty lengthy discussion last week about this concept because Dr. Drew now is planning on running against Adam Schiff. Cenk Uygur is running for Katie Hill's old seat. Alexandria
The
Ocasio-Cortez.
nearest bucket of lard he can find a drink.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has
Or the
become a
nearest
celebrity.
horse that he can have relations with.
Relations.
You ever seen that highlight reel?
I have not. I'm scared.
Chunk yogurt.
I'm
He
scared.
is fully like weird about bestiality. Whereas like I think normal people hear that word and they make the same face you just made, and they're like, again, how is this a thing? Didn't we used to just deal with that in like an appropriate way?
I don't want to
We
know.
told the women to go make a good dinner and we'd be right back and the problem would be solved. And we brought shovels with us. It was fine.
I don't want to know. This scares me. This scares my sensibilities.
He's going to, yeah. I'm sure he'll, wherever he decides to run will be the perfect den of filth for him to bathe in.
Well, that's a bit of where Harvey and I went when we discussed this last week as well, because I mean, look at Cortez as somebody who's in office already and is thinks that she's going to run and win again for 2020. Where are most of her donations? Because she's not getting donations from in her district, but she is getting tons of donations from California, Colorado, Illinois. Like, what is it? Like 75% of her money is coming from out of her district.
Shock. She's just a little spark plug, ain't she?
Well, and that's going to be the same thing with the celebrities.
The video.
If Cardi B runs for president, she's going to get donations from all over the country. She's not going to be beholden to her congressional district. She is going to be beholden to people all across the country. It makes this all a national race again.
That map of what it looks like, where these are coming from, and whether it's like certain areas a little bit more than others, and whether it's just like, oh, because of course if I was going to take my own donations from my own bribe and owners, I would have it look like it was from multiple areas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if I needed to raise 10 times the amount of capital to justify whatever the hell I'm doing with my LARP.
You like that word. You have said that constantly.
I know, dude. It's because, well, not constantly, but I'm bringing it back, dude. LARP is back. Because there are LARPs afoot. By the way, justice for Top Feed.
Nice.
And hashtag Team Retard. And there will be a Justice for Top Feed axe reinstatement party on the Ugly Jew this Friday.
Nice.
I'm calling it now, and I will accept the terms of this unconditional surrender.
Everybody make sure you tune in for that.
That's right.
All right. Last thing we want to talk about is the skinny, delightful skeleton that we know was Gwyneth Paltrow. And the candle that is clearly labeled, "This smells like my vagina." The candle that launched
Sounds
1,000
like Christmas
memes.
for Grandma. Nothing like the smell of vaginas candles on the holidays. Goes well with pumpkin pie.
Is it bad that I'm actually curious enough that I would possibly buy one just to see what it smells like?
Not only is it not bad, but you just went up a notch. It's just like bam, and that's
nice.
It's a good notch. The fact that right away you're like, and by the way, I think actually now that I've thought about it after what you just said, it's not bad at all that she did that, because why not? And like, think about just the curiosity that would cause someone to buy that. Like, I mean, people will have unopened ones like Star Wars Sheroes. Like, come on, dude. That's way better than bathwater.
Oh shit, now I'm buying two.
See? You got to have one unopened. Maybe just get a unopened case and then like another case and sell singles to other people to pay for the other case and just put it away. I'm telling you, I'm pretty good at making money. Put on some candles. Get your rotten crotch right here. Dude, R-rated could probably do this better than me. I'm trying not to go that low. He's like, Gwyneth Paltrow, actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know people really, but back in the day, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. Like Shallow Hell Days.
What?
Like the Shallow Hell Days?
Did you say Flat Earth Days? Please don't say that.
No, I said Shallow Hell.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Wait, what did I say?
I couldn't hear you. You glitched out for a second. You had said back in the day Gwyneth Paltrow, and I said, "Oh, the Shallow Hell Days."
What was that song the Nazis wrote? What, 8 days a week?
Yeah, the Beatles. Same thing.
Same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. See, I love that one. So, tell me how you haven't ordered yet? It's like there might be limited supplies. This may have gone over. Like, in fact, better if there are, because again, the singles you can sell just by being like, dude, I bought those candles that smell like that, that claim to smell like that. Do you want to try one? I happen to have some. You'll sell them quickly. And
you
want
to hit off to this?
Buys like a bunch of them, your case that you got stuffed under the bed is going to be worth bank, because no one else will have gotten them in time if they take them down. What's next for her, though?
I think
There's
she
really
has
only one hole left.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no! Chocolate starfish candle.
I don't want a candle that smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's throat.
No one does. She's got like tonsillitis.
Yeah. That's what you were talking about, right?
Of course. That's what I meant.
All right.
Banana. I'll stop. I'll leave R-rated some.
Well, that is all that I have for this. So check the live chat one more time here. Bloomberg selected my district last federal representative, Kendra Horn, financed her campaign. Okay, that's interesting when we go outside districts
How
here.
old is Gwyneth Paltrow?
I don't know. She's got to be in her 40s. Because she was in her 20s when I was in high school.
She's got to be 50.
She could be.
I can't fit him in.
She could be.
Brought it back to King of the Hill. So outside the congressional district, sorry. I saw her on the screen there, and I'm like,
So Ron Helton is in Oklahoma, and he's saying that Stop and Fucking Frisk Bloomberg selected his federal representative last time and financed her campaign.
You mean, Mr. When I get to heaven, I'm not about to wait at the gate. I'm going right in for all the good shit I did, Bloomberg?
Yeah. Yeah, Stop and Frisk Bloomberg.
Yeah. Again, I'm shocked. George Soros is funding someone. What?
No way.
Isn't that illegal? No.
Oh, Spartan is here. Spartan
Look
000.
over there.
Thanks for stopping at the very end there, Spartan. Of course, you can check us back on BitChute for the live replay, or not the live replay, but the replay coming up here. So that's all that I have off of this. I want to thank everybody for coming in and checking us out here. But before we go, I always ask the guest one last question because we do so much negative stuff, and I know I take it seriously, but we still have fun here. But we always want to leave on a light note. So tell me about a hobby that you have that has nothing to do with work or politics. It could be an album that you've picked up, some instrument that you've been playing.
I love playing bunches of instruments. I love racing super fast cars. It's like it really is great.
Mm-hmm.
Now that all the dust is settling and I'm selling everything, I'm moving to Texas. I will be closer to Coda, so I can go race on the F1 track there. Which
Oh, wow.
is something I wasn't able to do previously because it was like fly one place, drag, and it was logistically a nightmare. And I highly suggest. Here we go.
What's up?
I'm gonna pass this on. They're making cool cars now, but like prices are crazy, and it's like I've put enough miles at ridiculous speeds for cars, hypothetically, never on the streets, of course. But
No, never.
Even like an old 2004, get yourself a Mitsubishi Evo,
Mm-hmm.
get good chassis, whatever, and just put some power in it. Have one of these freaks that's good with computers and dynos. Put like 330 to 360 horse in it. You don't have to go super crazy. It'll be a daily driver, but it'll mob on like Porsches around tracks and stuff. You just put some coilovers on it, and like it'll change your life for the better. Those are a fantastic car, and like I ended up racing Formula 1000, and it's like, where did I get all my practice? Well, anything car I ever had. I never allowed myself to have motorcycles because my dad got like crippled really bad in one, and I knew that I would have been dead. Because occasionally you're going to hit a deer, take a car off the road, whatever.
Yeah.
Again, muscle it to the side of the road like any professional race driver would. But like, full aero cars are sick. Things that can take like 2.5+ G's in a turn. And if you look, like you can buy F1000s, you can buy old Indy car. I'm probably going to end up selling mine because I'm super tall and barely fit in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I could get an Indy car for about twice as much. That's like a 2012 Indy car. It's like that's basically like a 2008 Formula One.
Nice.
Like it's totally affordable. Like it's in the range. You just have to be able to drive it. And I do think you should go up like not totally baby steps, but at least try like an Indy Light and get used to it before you do 250 miles an hour into a speed bank. But I think if you have it in you, you should do it while you're young and have really good reflexes. And all your kids should learn music, and you should jam all the time. Like Stephen Ignoramus sets the perfect example.
Words to live by. Well, before we get out of here, if you want to finish the conversation with me, you can find me over on Twitter. That's at Ed's Blog Twitter with a 1 in place of the I, or various other links that are in the description below this video or above if we're over on Facebook here. Top Feed Coco, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
I'll find them. I don't know. Like I really want to get the hidden. I think the hidden camera, the chest cam, and just interacting with people will probably be what I want to stream the most. I will start streaming eventually once I like get this stuff taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have to start my empire. I mean, I'll always be around. People can get a hold of me. I'm Discordable. And I think more people should use Discord for stuff like this, because like minds need to work together and find other people. It's hard to find people on your level sometimes, not just being arrogant, but it's like it's tough out there, dude. And maybe it's worse here on the West Coast. I'm looking forward to anywhere else at this point, but yeah, connect with each other. It's not that bad. Not everyone's just like some crazy LARPing hacker trying to like destroy your life. Like some of us are just dudes. You can generally tell, I mean, you've been accused of being a shill, but I had your back.
Yeah.
The Red Sox pay you.
Well, I want to thank everybody for checking us out live over on YouTube, BitChute, or we're not live on BitChute, but YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, Periscope, or Twitter. And if you couldn't check us out live, you can catch us back on YouTube on the replay or over on BitChute. This will be uploaded to. Make sure you like and subscribe to those channels if you haven't already. Or if you would rather take us on the go on the audio platform, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Remember, if you're on iTunes, leave us that 5-star rating and a good review. And always subscribe, and you'll get your new episodes every Tuesday morning.
Be a good human being and support stuff you like.
Absolutely. And while you're supporting stuff you like, support Freedom Scoop over there. We take donations. We've got merch store over there. We've got great shows over there. We're leaving here and going to watch The Generational Gap as soon as we're done here. Go over there and check them out. They're on freedomscoop.com as well. Check out Stephen Ignoramus and all of his music and all of his comedy. Check him out over on Freedom Scoop as well. And come and support us.
Hit me up finally. Let's jam a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's just throw some ideas back and forth.
And as we always say on this channel, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Top Feed Coco, give us a last word before we're out of here.
Omega. End. How about end?
Yeah.
I changed my...
Take care, everyone.
Oh, it wasn't the last word.